Previously on Higurashi Gou, I have a confession to make. I have not read Umineko. This week on Higurashi Gou,
得意脊髄標本 LD3105 号と呼んだ方が似合いかな
I have a confession to make. I have not read Kokonia either. Welcome to the August Hail. I'm August and I want to help you find something great to experience. Here in the channel, I review anime visual novels. But for this series, we are going to cover the anime adaptation of Higurashi When They Cry Go. These series of videos will be a review and a reaction to each episode of Higurashi, and during this second half, a future speculation and theory crafting series to solve this new mystery of Higurashi. If you have not watched episode 21 of Higurashi When They Cry, I would highly suggest watching the episode before continuing with the rest of the video. And if you're looking for my specific videos regarding each episode, links are in the description down below. And with that said, let's begin. Ryukishi is just out there telling us, hey, go read my other works, lol. Higurashi Gou was just a bridge for the When They Cry extended universe, it seems, with Featherine out there dropping these bombshells on us. And well, that's not the only thing that's being dropped this episode. To summarize the connections, Kokonia is another title from the When They Cry series, named Kokonia When They Cry. While these references aren't important enough to have an effect on the Higurashi Gou narrative, all of you Kokonia fans out there, the dozens of you,
there are dozens of us. Dozens!
It's still enough to have you and the Umineko fans madly theorizing. So let's make this simple. The quote-unquote unnamed Oyashiro deity, or Featherine, claims that this isn't Satiko's first visit by referencing her by other names. Veer and possibly Mitsuyo are character references to Kokonia. The name tag LD3105 is a reference to Umineko by its naming convention, loosely LD for Lambda Delta, 3 being Sa, 10 being To, and 5 being Ko in the Japanese language. LD3105, Lambda Delta Satiko, a character from Umineko that looks an awful lot like a certain somebody. Of course, bear with me here as this is secondhand information. Again, because I have not read both Umineko and Kokonia. Feel free to go mad with the details. Meanwhile, the rest of us in the dark, including Satiko, we got the rest of the episode to cover. The unnamed Oyashiro deity presents Satiko with a perfect looping ability, with the condition that in order to restart the loop, she must die. Emphasis on perfect, because Satiko will not lose any of her memories in the new loops, compared to Rika initially. Satiko begins her first loop in what appears to be the Matsuribashi Hen world line, as Satiko slowly comes to terms with her situation. Satiko realizes her chance and takes the initiative in trying to prevent the events that build up to the future. But of course, Rika is going to pursue her dream no matter what Satiko does. This finally leads into a heart-to-heart conversation between the two of them, something these two desperately need. Satiko confesses about the issues that will eventually pop up and her desire at the core of it. Satiko also expresses her incapability to fit in the St. Lucia's Academy environment. Unfortunately, Rika doesn't read between the lines in this conversation and assumes Satiko's troubles are academic related. She doesn't even outright address Satiko's concerns. In the end, Rika vows to be with Satiko, and with Satiko putting her faith in Rika, her best friend, she believes what she says. But as we find out later, that promise turns out to be a false hope. Trying to fit in an uncomfortable environment is stressful all alone, especially at a young age. But a singular friend could make all of the difference. Rika wants to have Satiko follow her to St. Lucia's Academy, but it doesn't put her in a good light when Satiko, who is forcefully pulled along, gets abandoned when they get there. The next major conversation between Satiko and Rika is a hostile one. Now, while we don't get the details regarding specifics, we can imagine that Satiko's troubles are repeated again in this loop. You might think that Satiko should have an easier time with academics, but don't forget, Satiko isn't the best at memorization, and given a couple of years, I doubt she would remember. You could also argue that Satiko could have adapted to the St. Lucia Academy lifestyle, but given her brash personality, that isn't going to happen. Regardless, the academic issues and the environment isn't the core issue here. It's a matter of Rika leaving Satiko by herself. Rika confronts Satiko.
私は嘘なんてついてないわ。あなたの成績が落ちた時、私は手を差し伸べようとした。その手を振り払ったのは聡子。
There's a difference between explicitly stating and reading between the lines. How Rika saw it was plain and simple. Satiko declined her offer to help, and thus the problem is on Satiko. Unfortunately, Satiko has a habit of not being fully honest with herself, both in the past and the present. Satiko states that she wanted to be with her to be on even grounds together, only for Rika to coldly dismiss her. Now here's a question to think about. Should Satiko be at fault here for not growing up and accepting help when asked for, especially when you consider it's the second time? Or is it Rika's for not reading between the lines and ignoring Satiko? Or both? One of the intriguing discussions of Higurashi Gou is that opinions are divided over who's in the right and who's in the wrong here, but no matter which one you believe in, one of them has the upper hand, ending the episode in quite the theatrical fashion.
ごきげんよう裏切り者のリカ
And before we end off, let's talk about the new details introduced in this episode, starting with the opening. Hope you didn't skip this episode's opening, because the hidden silhouette is now revealed to be the Oyashiro deity, fashioning a devilish smile. The other hidden detail is that the teddy bear showed in the opening is now replaced by a box, the same box used to reveal Satiko at the end of episode 17. And the biggest feature introduced is the brand new ending sequence that was previously obscured for obvious reasons. The ending sequence shows the progression of Satiko and Rika's lives in a revolving motion, emulating the spinning chandelier and representing their endless looping. What's interesting is the last visual during the sequence, with Satiko holding her arms out before the scene crossfades to the chandelier crushing below, blood splattering in all directions. In conclusion, the looping begins now, with Rika's death being the start of her own looping, and Satiko, far removed from her normal behavior, is willing to kill. And with Satiko's terrifying Trapmaster skills, she's fully capable of doing so too. So the question is, and with only a few episodes left in the series, what will be the conclusion to all of this? Will it come to a resolution, or will it end in tragedy? So what do you all think of episode 21 of Higurashi Gou? What are your impressions of the new episode, and what are your thoughts on what might happen next? I would love to hear them. And as always, subscribe if you liked the video and want to see more. Please check out some of my other videos on the channel and check back every week for new content. If you're interested in my thoughts, you can follow me on Twitter at TheAugustAyo. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.